Game-Geki. Silent Hill. Ascension.
Welcome to Game-Geki, the show that's streaming Silent Hill Ascension at 1 a.m. in the morning for the rest of the week because Daylight Savings is going to come up on Sunday and put us back to good old 2 a.m. DDK, joined as always by Silent Hill, back on the PC and Game-Geki Towers. Pre-show is ticking away nicely.
On the Hernandez family and on the Johansson family, which
But
still
hey,
Dawn didn't allow
I
the
get
Johansson family to
the
begin with.
rest
The bar was on the
of the
floor.
week at 1
And
a.m.
now, Eduardo, they've got to fight for their safety, fight for their children. Aurora's still at large, so God knows when she's gonna pop up like
Bonus.
God's worst whack-a-mole, you know? You just never know. And the withering is
DST
upon us,
on
so
Sunday.
it only goes downhill from here.
No, it does, and in a way, that's the thing for our post show as well, Layla. It was a delight having you on our pre-show, but you will be replaced by Jacob. So very different take on your chair. I won't be as
They're rotating out the hosts.
Audience. This was a
1 a.m. is great.
I will be like this for later. But
It is good, isn't it?
Won't be, we
It's
won't be our
late.
fabulous selves, but Jacob is very
But not
entertaining and also gives insight
so
like no other. Since as you can when you hit the project and get to communicate all the stuff about it. So you don't want to miss that for sure. But in the meantime, very
Like
soon,
me chat saying
the
1 a.m.
show
is great and I'll
starting.
miss it. Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
gonna say bye
It's
for
good
Layla.
stuff.
Please say bye, audience. She was great.
Merge be with
I'm
you.
gonna say bye. Enjoy the show. I'll see you right after the post
Be
show.
with you.
Yes, they're Keyblades. Bye.
The outstanding show is brewing up. Started rally. Nora! That contextually makes loads of sense. You really need a way to make these smaller because they take up so much room on the chat. It's a limited premium amount of space after all. Oh, Rachel, how did you get 180'd so badly?
Easy, easy.
Krista? What the fuck?
I'm sorry, but I had to do this.
Where's Eric? Faith?
I don't know.
You know what she's saying to him? She's saying,
Easy, Hans.
Please let me go. We need to find them.
I can't. Not until you promise to help me.
Help you do what?
The others, they don't believe me, Rachel. I have to save them from the withering, but they don't believe me.
do you believe that to save them you have to do something
You don't even know
insane?
Ascension is real.
You don't get it. I've seen what's coming, and it can't be stopped. This is the only way to save
Like
them.
a freight
Why would
train.
anyone from the Foundation even believe me? I'm the freak who cut out her own eye.
She interrupted herself then.
Remember?
Why would anyone believe? Yeah, I'm the freak that came.
But they did to Xavier. He believed in you, Rachel, and the others will too. They have to.
Why should I help you with anything? After you tried to steal Eric? He doesn't want to be with you.
I'm pretty sure he does.
I just want to help him and your daughter. But I need your help to do it.
Let me go, Krista.
You're really gonna make me do this, aren't you?
Do what?
If you don't help me, I'll tell everyone how you killed Joy and started the withering.
Terrible. What a backstabbing timing.
Maybe it's time everyone knew this hell they're experiencing is because of you.
I ain't helping her at all then.
They'll
Jesus.
tear you apart.
Tear me apart. No.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
I need to find the truth about my brother. This little girl needs you, and you're just gonna walk away from her? What kind of person does that? You don't understand. Of course I do. But your brother's dead. And you will be too if you go out there alone.
I can hear them.
Is this place reminiscent of the bar in Silent Hill 1?
Monsters. I hear their voices.
Are the voices
Kind of reminds me
scary?
of the cutscene in that point.
They're
At that point.
scared.
You know, side by side, you put this side by side one one's cutscenes. They're reasonably on par in their style and aesthetic. Give it that.
We have to go. Now!
Sure, it's a PS1 cutscene, but still. Source material. If they fit the PS2 cutscenes, then it would have been better, but oh well. These monsters are tearing up the town.
Take a breather. You don't sound good.
I'll be fine. Just need a moment.
Is it?
Where your sister shot me all those years ago?
Yeah, it's the old gunshot wound, you know.
Too bad Astrid couldn't do this.
I was trying to see if I had the sound effect for
think she
just
was
a moment,
begrudging it.
but I'm not sure I do.
Pretty sure she's only thinking about Orson at this point.
Okay. Let's keep moving. When we get there, I can be the diversion. I'm feeling better.
Really? It seems like you're in a lot of pain.
Can I see those pills of yours? You know, just in case they're
I'll
okay.
be fine.
I need your pills.
There's a lot of them.
We've got to run. Come on. We have to go. Now.
Well, there are monsters, you're right. Come on then, let's go. That section featured Brit, don't you know? But now we got the endurance scene back on the PC. We're going to see how it's kind of. They did make tweaks to it before, so people mentioned that the click game was more manageable in general. So I'm just going to try it with the mouse on its own, see if it's improved or not. It's kind of hard to tell in just one endurance scene, mind you. Brit, you've fallen asleep in the morgue. At least I think it's the morgue. I'm not really. Kind of hard to tell exactly where these scenes are when they're in the other world. But they're all the places around Stildon and Hope Junction, I suppose. I've got to find my way out. Don't forget to disinfect your hands. Don't forget to disinfect your hands. I was okay. Sure, I deserve better than a bit of nothing. Alright, that was good so far. That's alright. Though it could just be easy mode one. Oh, I screwed up 3 of those. I went from 0 to 0. Pretty fast. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away. There's corpses in them bags. Got a head that's not like covered in shadow, but the rest of her is. Those are the mysteries of light in the other world. I was a bit slow on that one. Next room. Send in the monsters. Alright, I was too busy trying to find that I was losing my place. Colossal strength. Watch yourself. He's bowling down the gangway. You can sit down on that comfy spinning chair. Ultimate surgery. Watch yourself. You escaped that room. On to the next room. Thought you lost him. You didn't. Perhaps the true test is to remember exactly where all the hot points appear. I'll never be that good though. I have a memory like a... Damn it, what's that thing that doesn't have much of a memory? I forgot. An old fish. I'm sure I caught one of those in the fishing mini game just. That's too much of a commotion. Now you're sunk. We're going to be joined by Animation Eddie today. I'm sure we've had Animation Eddie before, you know. He's just that good a star. He was on the waiting list, ready to be signed up by Silent Hill Ascension. There he is, Animation Eddie. No! Well, look what they've done to my boy. Of course, always redemption here on Game-Geki. Everyone else in the chat here just can't bear that we're obsessed with doing a redemption or anything. But I tell you, I ain't a bot. They're moaning that the redemptionists are all whales and bots, but I haven't spent anything on this game. Although I did buy a mug, so I guess that kind of counts as spending something. You didn't get me. Couldn't quit for you. Get out of it. I'm gonna throw an evil off now. It's perfection all around on today's episode of Silent Hill Ascension Endurance here on Game-Geki. We all enjoyed perfection all round. Love the hold breath animation that looks like checking for bad breath. Reject Krista. She's insane. Krista only wants what's best for Krista. Krista needs to get collected. Community did not succeed, that sticker says. Oh, I guess we didn't succeed. Oh yes, these things like fly around the room. Isn't that amazing? Let's get put a sticker in. Nice. 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 There you go, there's my nice. How do you get a really big one?
Welcome back, everybody, to the Silent Hill Ascension post-show. I've changed Lila into Jacob, but I'm still in
Jacob.
At least I haven't been affected. How are you doing, Jacob?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. How you doing? Now, Jacob, we got an
downgrade
today, right? The momentum wheel
but
just got
okay.
added. Some of our audience members actually noticed that, so that's a change in how the decisions stream works. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did the things. I think it was like a month ago I was saying we were going to be working on that, and then we went on to bug fixing for a while, but it's up there. It's buggy as shit.
Buggy and shit.
Show went live. I was in a call with the team. I'm like, this isn't working. That needs to change. This needs to change. We'll fix it in the next couple of days. Like, it's super hard to see tiny little boxes to see all the choices. And it's like, I was like, you can't tell the difference between which one is live and which one's not. And like, one is white, one is aqua. No, they both look same.
Final Fantasy mixed with Silent Hill.
So,
but
good
it's
news,
live
new
and it's
feature.
cool.
Bad news needs a bit of tinkering in the lab. So at least
we do everything live. Everything live here.
That's fair. I mean, at least it's reassuring. I think for
live.
audience, you know,
It's
like
the
kind of
way to
we're
go.
not presuming things are perfect. Like, no, we gotta cook that one needs to go in the oven a bit. But
we'll fix it in the past.
A little bit more of like it feels more alive, I guess, is the idea, right?
Is the idea, and we're tweaking the way that it works. So the way it works today isn't necessarily how it works tomorrow.
It live.
It's a kind of feed of some of the activity that's occurring, and we're going to test how fast it takes you to spin the wheel. So I've set it a little bit low right now. Like, you know, you should spin the wheel with a couple of people, and it should start to spin faster and faster. But the intent here is spin the wheel,
set the
do a rally,
endurance to easy mode at so far.
And spin bonuses, and you know, you'll be able to quickly get choices that are far behind back up, because we want to start to see more and more choices where, you know, things are more even rather than blowouts, and that also relates to the.
I see. So they've redesigned that interface for the rallies, huh?
By the way, Jacob, we talked about this while we were preparing, but our audience is really asking about this now, so I think this is a good time to address it. We're going to address it a bit later, audience, but I think you're warm on it. So it was like about the full bar and influence points. I believe that's in the endure scenes, Jacob.
You're talking about the way in which the endure portion works?
Yes.
So the first interactions you do on any endure sequence are going to wildly swing your U meter, because you've only had one interaction. So if you've got one interaction at the start and it's a swipe, you've got 100% on your U meter.
Okay.
The more that you interact and more that you fail, the more it's going to take your U meter a lot more to interact. And by the way, if you're really far ahead, like you've gotten a whole bunch perfect and then you miss a few at the end, you're not going to see your U meter really swing very much, because at that point you've accumulated so many points that it's hard
perfection
to swing one way or the other. So at the beginning, wild swings. In the middle, smaller swings. Toward the end, very few swings. It's the way that it's supposed to work. It's the way that it's designed. It's the same thing with the community meter. It shouldn't swing as wildly later on as it does. And so, yes, at the beginning, you hit one thing perfectly, you're going to get it 100%.
All right. I hope for you, the audience, this was a decent explanation, and it helps you understand on the endurance a bit more. I wanted to kind of segue into a decision that opened today, because that's actually going to be our first interview.
Thanks for the insight.
So to speak, with Jacob here.
Instagram.
So the thing was here, a production team's going to put it up on screen. That's the graphic opening this day. Again, this
joke
is Shuffle.
I missed.
So
why do
here
people
we have that, how will Rachel address her remaining loyalists? And we have say Krista's deranged, tell them to save themselves, or support Krista. Now, one of the interesting things, Jacob, is before we kind of told people, you know, this is the redemption option, this is suffering option, this is a damnation option. Not quite now. So there's a story, though, behind that.
Yeah. So when we were first working on the project, there was a big discussion.
There was an odd fellow one night who kept saying that.
Participate in the choice and not have your choice.
Someone's found his Instagram for an hour or so.
There was this discussion internally about, well, it feels bad if you spend a bunch of points on something and then that wasn't what got picked. And in specific, like if it leads you down a direction, especially because you're spending
must have gotten
time in
all the followers.
You're spending points that you care about, and you don't have the individual ability.
Reach me on the gram.
If somebody else goes and puts a huge ton on something else, it feels bad. So, you know, we should tell the audience what path this is going.
I can only assume he did. No way, Instagram. Got different opinions on this Instagram situation.
Kind of use of these points, more.
Which tried to support Krista Root. Let's be honest now. She's no bueno.
You know, another important reason we did it was we believe
Oops, I
based
didn't
off
see
of our
that.
previous products like Walking Dead that having the audience cheer for one thing and boo against another thing was
Krister is
really important. That
passed.
whole wrestling analogy was one that I
Being
used
accepted.
in a lot of interviews
She's full
leading
heel
up to
now.
Ascension, as well as for Walking Dead and others. We want to have our heels in our faces. And in Walking Dead, it was very clear how to do the factionalization because we had you as an audience either join the village or join the plant. But in Silent Hill, how do you create factions? Like, how do you create audiences to cheer for one thing or another? And so we created the fate system. And we thought
gonna
by
take you
factionalizing
down,
these different choices that we would create kind of 3 different ways for you to go around. But
at
it
the
was
fall
very clear,
brawl.
almost from the beginning, that the redemption faction was incredibly strong, and it was very hard for others against it.
She
but
cut
my
a mean promo.
As one of the people working on the project was, well, if that's what the audience wants, that's fine, right? Like that's what the audience chooses. That's what people are
Redemption Wales.
and so we need
Wales
to
can go
to that. But there was
through
this
their
comment
amazing
a couple
teeth.
of weeks ago, and I'll let production put that up on the screen, that really spoke to me, where somebody was referring
9
to
possible fate
the
combos.
group that was working toward redemption.
Just concerned seeing a chat that they're talking about it, except they won't, because Redemption Rails will accept us. Please, more measures to stop cheating before they get worse.
Equally, though I have a preference toward Damnation because it's a much more interesting story outcome. But I saw that and I thought, okay, the faction systems are working too well. There is one that is dominating. It's not even anymore. And so let's experiment. So the next day, like literally a couple hours later, when that happened, I was on a flight back from Japan, and I just wrote when I landed in Slack, like,
remove the fate labels. Randomize the choice box
remove the
locations,
labels?
so
How
it's not always
hard is this?
redemption on
Because,
left.
we're busy working on a ton of stuff, momentum wheel and bug fixing, and so my
Come
initial
to this at
reaction
long
was,
last.
I don't know what it's going to take to remove the fate labels. If it's quick and we can do it in a day or two, let's try it out and see if it works. If you're going to tell me it's going to be like 3 weeks worth of work, not do it. And very fast, I got a response from one of my devs, and they wrote, well, I think we can remove the labels and randomize it, within the span of a day or so. So great, we built it out on Monday, we tested it on Tuesday,
Client side change,
on
isn't it?
Wednesday, and that's how we like to do things. We're learning, we're experimenting, we're building with all of these products. And so I asked the audience, do you guys like the thing without the labels? And I do think that the reaction in general it's much more exciting and interesting. On the other hand, like I do feel like the chat
took 3 months.
Very, self-selecting in terms of its feedback. I think that there's probably a large redemption faction that we are not hearing from. They could be in Facebook or they could be in Discord. And so I was asking about this at our Friday All Hands, if you recall. I was like, where is the redemption faction? Because they're not pushing back here. And I find that lack of feedback curious. So if you are part of that redemption faction, feel free to write to me and give me your thoughts on the no
that
labels,
faction is the silent majority.
But for now, we're gonna keep that going. And these are all good lessons for us.
White Knights.
A ton about how audiences interact with these products. If you're not aware, or maybe you are aware, we've got 2 other series coming out. We haven't announced the dates for them, but we're working on them now. One with Borderlands franchise with Gearbox.
That's right. Genvid are working on multiple things. I'd look on their website.
Borderlands Echo Vision Live, and we've got DC Heroes United with DC. This is the animated series Batmobile. We've just gotten approval for our own Batmobile, which we're very excited for.
Doing to get a real Batmobile.
Build these products better based off of all of the audience feedback, and we're going to completely redesign how we do decisions for the next title. Literally just based off of how you're liking these, how we're experimenting with it, how we're learning from it.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jacob, and as well. I'll shout out
that,
Drew, who came
shout
up.
out for Ascension
so
Series
I saw
2.
Also the audience really excited about audience member that keeps
all I
coming
can
back up.
say about Ascension Series 2 is
we should shout out the people who are here and who do.
It wouldn't be good.
Literally
I
your
mean,
own
it'd be amazing,
experience.
but it wouldn't be
was,
good for
I
me.
mean, that was a core tenet
Not at 2 a.m.
of kind of what Silent Hill Ascension was about, but it was maybe more than you bargained for at home. Now,
but that's
Jacob,
all. That all comes back to like the Twitch kind of roots of everything that we're doing, right? We were deeply inspired by Twitch Plays Pokemon. We're deeply inspired by the way in which streamers and their audiences relate. Streamers and their audiences create this relationship where one thing affects the other, and that was very intentional. You know, we've had users who have written their own fan songs on YouTube. Thank you for that. I said I was going to mention
Fan
that today.
songs.
And we're grateful for that audience interaction, participation, and feedback. You've literally seen yourselves making the product better, and that's all the goal here. Like we don't necessarily know everything. And by the way, you're literally making the animation because the scenes that you see today didn't exist 3 weeks ago. Didn't exist. Like we wrote.
It is the community,
and we recorded the voice acting, but we're animating these things as we go along. And we're changing and improving and affecting it because you guys are telling us we like one thing, we don't like another thing. And we're making changes. Like the user avatars.
Finally.
We're always the most awkward
We
parts
rise
of the screens. Like they
above
come off, they
labels.
feel like really weird and jarring. And so we got rid of a ton of those. We still have some. You still have cameo contests. You still
I misspelled labels,
Endure,
I think.
but like
oh well.
instead of like 2 or 3 a day, we've reduced that because you've told us that that's what you want, and then we focused that on the cinematics instead. And so we are changing our pipelines as you guys are giving us that feedback.
No, and thank you for that insight. I know the audience is really loving it, and I'll give you as well an update, Jacob.
Bearded ladies.
I get to watch this as you talk. But it's rougher for you. Like, I'm actually getting mixed feedback from, so to speak, the Redemption, the people who voted Redemption. Some like the no labels. Some, feel like, oh no, I was working towards the good ending and you removed that from me. Why? Like, I like that there's a balance, and that makes sense, right? When you're at home, like, it's normal for those who don't like the change that you don't like it. You're valid, and it's also valid for the people who do like the change.
It's
about
someone's
it.
normal.
We hope that
Some
if you don't
people
like it, that at least
don't like change.
you're still part of the experience. You still enjoy what's going on, just on a bit of a different take as things progress. Because I mean, Ascension literally is
Can't win.
Over time. Look, that was what I wanted to hear. I knew there had to be a faction that wasn't enthusiastic for that change because I had assumed when we originally built it that would be the case, that you would find a faction that you would go for, and you'd want to go for what you consider to be the quote-unquote good ending. And so I'm glad to see that feedback because I can use it in our internal discussions.
So Zayker Brit choices a final fate.
Exist,
Possible outcome could be
and they may not be the
bright,
most vocal in the chat,
British
but now we're hearing it
ending.
every
Brit
aspect.
distracts
So
the
thank you
crowd. They get to
for
the
that.
vote.
Again, it's incredibly useful feedback for us.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm sure like as the show progresses, like things might stay, they might change as they do, but that's the thing, right? So like Jacob, Ascension's evolved a ton.
Silent
what
Hill.
we had in November is not at all where we're at
Ascension.
today. I think
The only
really
show
clearly to us working on the project. Kind of like the important part here is. We're
It's the only show it's
lessons
impossible
for
to leak the
future,
ending, as it isn't.
But what are some of the things that just happened?
Determined
Can we
yet.
take stock of what happened these past couple of months there?
Yeah, so like the original animation pipeline was, we'd started it from zero. We had no idea how to properly use metahumans.
Dare I say, breaking new wind?
A lot of those initial
Excellent
scenes, and we
point.
did our best with it. But once we really got into the groove of it and we learned lessons over the course of that holiday break that we
I'm
took,
going to miss you guys when this is
December
all over.
to
Said that person in the chat
we
room.
went and redid a whole bunch of the pipeline based off of the learnings of literally doing it live.
Yeah, I
you
got to
can
mention
see
that.
the animation that we've got
And
going in the
my
last
point is
couple of
pertinent.
weeks is way beyond and way better.
Which is why we need a season 2. Well, season 2 now, of course, you don't get ahead of yourselves. You've got to rest this bad boy for a few years first, I reckon.
Again, we're building like 20 hours because you haven't seen all the branches, right, of animation in this. It's more than that was in Final Fantasy 16. And we're building
quite a bit, yeah.
We're building it
Well, in Final Fantasy 16 of all things.
Audience choices, which is not a thing that's ever done before, and it's hard. And I don't think
I'm definitely gonna miss everyone.
at the start
But
people
we get a
appreciated
season
the extent to
2.
which we were literally
Well,
building
it's time we got
these
to work,
things,
I think.
with audience
We've
kind of
listened to this
feedback.
amazing
But
chat
we
for such a
finished
while
it
now.
real quickly, and we're learning from it real quickly. I'm real proud.
He's real proud. Whoa, oh yeah, this is different. Holy shit. Your IP's influencing decisions will speed up the wheel and amplify everyone's bonus IP contributions. The more IP users contribute, the higher the multiplier. But be quick, as the wheel slows down, so does the bonus. Well, yeah, that is quite the bonus. And so what I'm going to quickly do, actually, is, because I forgot that this was a thing that I can get away with here on the PC version, is throw the pre-show into another window, which I totally seamlessly did there. Say Krista is directly challenged. Current bonus 5%. My brain is trying to
It's been 10 years since
comprehend what
I
I'm looking at here.
those days. And one of my
How will Brit
partners,
overcome hostile
working on it,
townspeople to
one
get
was
to the vote?
Yoichi Wada,
Which
who was
ends
the
in 3
longtime
days.
CEO of Square Enix.
Are
Another
there more
one
questions?
was a guy named Tetsuji Iwasaki, who way back to like
are these the
Bahamut
3
Lagoon,
working
working at Square.
Gotta get used to this new
programmers on
UI
Final
now.
Fantasy Tactics, and also
Alright.
the head of
Start on the
network
left-hand side.
programming, for Final Fantasy 11. And he told
Who
me
will
a series
Rachel
of
decide
stories.
Faith will be
One of them was,
safest with? And there's
Sakaguchi-san,
the
who's the creator of the
context
Final
on
Fantasy
it.
franchise, came to him, in the late 90s.
Herself,
Like,
Eric, Nora.
on an MMO, and this was in the era of
Yeah, you're right. This is
baud modems. And
totally.
I thought he was crazy.
They've changed it all.
He just told me to do it, and so I did it.
So,
and we built it, and we tested it, and it took us
Gekidama
7
will
years
be
to get it right, but
pleased.
we got there.
So I can't actually remember who I voted with, what I voted in the past now, though.
Jacob, one of the greatest experiences I ever had was being invited to a
But
wedding.
I'm
of
pretty
two
sure
people we
we've
met
voted
in
on this
Final
one.
Fantasy 11.
How
And I
Brit
think
overcome
I've
hostile
done that a lot of
townspeople to
times.
get the
In
vote?
production, you can throw up that photo
Yeah, we've
when
done
I was
that one.
much thinner.
How Rachel address
This
her
is me
remaining
and
loyalists?
Square Enix's CEO, my longtime boss, Wada-san, and Iwasaki-san.
Krista is
working on
deranged.
streaming
Tell
a
them
very
to
long
save
time ago. A
themselves.
lot of what we
Support
do
Krista.
here,
They better
at
save
Genvid
themselves. I'm
is,
going to vote for that
trying
one.
to fulfill a lot
It's
of the
currently running at a
scenarios
super
and
high
vision of what
bonus.
we've been
The
thinking
mess
about
with the Wheel of
future
Doom
games is
here.
going to be for a very, very long time, and we still have a long way to go, but we're very proud of the work that we've
Let's
gotten through so far.
check the catch-up
No,
section.
thank you for that
Yeah.
insight. So, by the
do
way,
it later.
the audience has been like talking
Login
there's been a
streak.
lot of chatter here from our audience, which is great to watch. By the way, for it's entertaining for me. So if you think you're the ones enjoying the
This
show,
is
from
going
us,
to get
trust me, I'm
married
into it.
wearing
Now,
matching trauma shirts.
The thing is, they were
That
talking a lot about season
would-
2, so I don't want to
That would be
really segue that way into the what
a
is
marriage.
season and the planning, because there's
good.
expectations to be
I'll do
had.
it.
But
I'll do
yes,
it.
I'll let you do it.
We're going to be starting What If when the main season ends, and the goal with What If is to
Not heaven,
fulfill
though.
the promise I made at the outset of the project. I've been
Claim
very
my IP.
consistent
Contribute to a
about what
decision.
we're trying
I
to
don't
do
quite
here on
understand how that's.
Ascension. If you look
I
back to
did
my
contribute to a
earliest
decision. Why is that
discussions of
not
it and the original
counted?
Silent Hill transmission and things I
Damn
wrote
it.
on Reset
You have to
Error,
go back in
things
and
I wrote on
re-contribute to a
Twitter back
decision.
before I was being trolled by Nazis and I had to
Oh
shut
yeah, they're
down
shuffling as
all
well.
the Twitter. It was pretty crazy back in November and October. I said that we were going to give the audience a chance to see the things that we had created
there we go.
that they hadn't seen before. So
I clicked
we're
that a
gonna
few
go
times,
more
didn't
into
I?
this a little bit closer
Huh?
as we get into What If, but we have
That
built
was really
massive
strange.
amounts of footage. And so over the course of What If, you're going to unlock that footage. So you're going to be able to experience Ascension for a lot longer because you're going to be able to each week unlock the scenes that you missed, including the all the points that you've spent on these decisions have not gone to waste. They're going to be reopened. Any moments that you missed are going to be available again. And we'll get more into it a little bit later. What we are not going to be doing, just to be clear, we are not rerunning the simulation from the beginning. So we have filmed those scenes, but we have filmed hundreds and hundreds of scenes, which means that, as an example, you're not going to already. So we're going to turn the hope meter off. You're going to only see the outcome where he's alive at the end of it, right? We want to see the opposite. We want to see the things that we missed. And additionally, once you guys chose that Rachel should lose the eye, every scene that we filmed after that was with Rachel's eye lost. I can't go and refilm 10 hours of footage again. So you're going to see the alternatives where other characters lost their eyes, but it's going to be consistent going forward where those scenes that were filmed with their eye lost are going to be the ones filmed with their eye lost.
Oh,
again, we'll get more
that's
into that as
strange.
we go. Now, after we've started What If, many
they're
of our
having to
teams,
remake
as you're well aware
bits
of,
from
Eduardo,
scratch.
have already transitioned on to getting ready for our next title
Confusing.
launches. So you will have to wait. If we do more Silent Hill, it's going to have to be after we get to our next titles, because we have only a couple months after this to launch the next big one, and it's going to be very big. And we've got a killer writing team on it. We've learned a lot about voice acting and everything else. So we are a small team.
There's plenty to learn on voice acting field, that's for sure.
The next thing we promised in our pipeline. But we love Ascension, and we would love to do more. And so hopefully I've addressed most of the topics there. Any questions from the audience that I haven't addressed that we want to get into?
Let me check. Let's see. There was a lot of chatter on essentially, obviously, like the change to the wheel. And by the way, I do want to mention from the audience, there are some people that like definitely wanted to back Redemption, and what this I can address a bit. You know, Fate and Hope still exists over time, so the fact that you backed Redemption this long does give you a lead. So it's not lost. The Fate is still there.
It is a lot harder to guarantee redemption, but the redemption rates are so high already that, you know, it's also a lot harder for the other things to win against it. But what's kind of fun now is you get to guess which one's going to be redemption.
But,
and if you get the outcome right, that's good.
Perhaps they have made everything for the better now.
It makes the end game a little bit more interesting, but you did spend the vast majority of the season pushing redemption to its absolute peak. So it is quite hard for it to radically change, but, you know, good luck. You know, the whole
Their
point
souls are purely redeemed deep from within.
Yeah. So other aspects I've seen, can living characters die and rerun or no death? Like basically from what we've discussed, right? The timeline, so to speak, exists, but you get to see kind of off branches. That's the idea, right?
You're going to see different branches that we didn't film. So as I said, we're not running the full simulation. So for example, if Toby's end scene, you're going to see the scene where he lives. But in the canon run, he is dead, right? And so everything that we filmed assumed that he was dead from that point in time.
It's interesting he's using the language we filmed,
that
but it's like running real time.
But as I said, it's not rerunning the simulation. Rerunning the simulation would require thousands more videos that we didn't film from it. So, you know, you won't get to see it continue.
They didn't film, so some stuff actually wasn't made at the start. They're having to make some of these in real time. That's crazy.
Multiple videos that didn't air, videos where characters lived, videos where characters didn't live, depending on what happened, videos where lines were different, you know, the opposite scene to the Morgie, like what you guys saw. And so you're going to be able to unlock all of those scenes that we filmed that
more lewd or Morgies.
A clerical question, but generally we'll probably answer these as we go along, but we can answer this one, I guess. Do our influence points transfer to What If?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Everything is the same, and the
Excellent
decisions
stuff.
are being reopened with the decision that one grayed out, but all the point totals that were there before still there. So, you know, just consistently keeping that promise that every point that you've spent still has meaning inside of the product.
So we have, Jacob, are you amused at how we catch phrases like Morgie and Lobby Lod?
Oh,
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
The audience are geniuses for that.
Konami finds it very amusing too.
So there we go. You got your answer there, audience. So by the way, Valkyr 1 and a few others that really didn't like the label change. It's actually good that you're voicing it out. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll change or anything, but like, you know, we get that feedback. It's important. So
takes a long time to make these kind of changes, so changing it back would be just way too much bother now. Especially now they got amazing wheel.
I mean, keep in mind, if there's enough of it, then we can change it back, right? It really depends on how strong those voices are, right? We're trying to maximize what's exciting for the majority of the audience here.
We'll have to see how the wheel plays out. It's too new.
But large group of people who like the labels and was pushing for redemption. That was really important to them, and I need to hear your voices. If I don't hear those voices, I don't have the ability to have conversations with our team on what we should or should not be doing, because it just feels like overwhelmingly every change we make is positive, and that's not necessarily true.
positive change.
Magic Marbot was, will we be able to get more behind the scenes after the run? No, just quickly from me, you'll get more behind the scenes before the run, and but after the run, for you, Jacob.
Behind the scenes would be interesting. This is
yeah, and,
an interesting
before I
thing
forget,
they've built,
a couple weeks
to
ago,
say
last
the
time I was
least.
here on the stream, we unboxed this giant pyramid head thing. Speaking of behind the scenes stuff, Vitality, who was here, is our COO, was like, Jacob, you didn't show what was inside the pyramid head, so here, more behind the scenes stuff, but this time it's inside a pyramid head. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Sorry for the non sequitur, but I did it, Chris. You're welcome.
All right.
The pyramid head
so
apparently
we have an
was
audience member who wants to shout out customer support. I know that was a recurring theme from some audience members.
like a
so
skinny color. Amazing
showcase
stuff.
that recognition there. Will our accounts be reused in futures? So there's generally been a few questions about access to things like puzzles and the episodes and all that after the show kind of concludes its run.
I've done
can
that.
you talk more about that?
Sure. During What If, all of your account stuff, all of your moments, all of your decisions,
Excellent
all of your
stuff.
puzzles are still the same. It's
Mini
literally
games
like during that
complete.
break period, and we're going to have new puzzles coming during the What If, so you can earn more points during it. So nothing changes there. You're all good. Now, I did see one user say that
Attention to detail on the pyramid head.
Problems.
You'll have to check.
If you can't log into your account,
what's his name? Teo of Ascension stream in order to see what the amazing inside the pyramid head looked like.
Press the delete button at some point.
But it was basically
every 30 days. GDPR requires us to take every
behind the curtain. That
delete button
fleshy.
And actually wipe their account. Like, that is a legal requirement for us to do if you press the delete button. We don't do it unless you press the delete button. Trust me, I don't want to be deleting people's accounts. It's important for us to keep them. So we only do it if that button was pressed. Now, if you have pressed that button and you want to get the account back, I don't know what I could do. But if you can point out your old account and your old email address and you had purchased a season pass on it and you want to have that reinstated, we can probably check those things because we have receipts for it. But once we delete the thing, European regulations requires us to remove it. Like, we actually have had users be like, I want to make sure, double check that you guys have actually deleted us per GDPR, or I'm going to file a complaint with blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, we have to do it.
Yeah, and it gets done. So
well, yeah, they gotta delete old stuff because
I can probably answer because I'm
you lose track of it eventually, and
What If.
That's how stuff gets leaked 10 years from now.
How should I put it? We want to do a show around What If. That's probably the best way to put it. We got something in mind, but I literally have a notepad where I wrote stuff down. So
still
you'll have to
cooking the idea.
Thinking about it today. Yeah.
Give me time to put this into digital. Yes.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we're doing 3 things concurrently here. Like, we are both live operating this show and planning for what happens during What If, which we still have to live operate, and planning for 2 other shows at the same time. And we are not a big team of people. Like, the fact that everything works, given the small number of QA, the small number of developers we have.
When's the season it's going to end?
Because you guys are used to,
that's a good question.
In this industry having let's look at Monopoly Go as an example. That game has done $2 billion in revenue, right? Amazing. 7 years of development. You know how many hundreds and hundreds of people Scopely has on staff? It's crazy.
Made a game of Monopoly, hundreds of people.
Simple. But they have had thousands of people working on it. They have QA teams of 50, 60 people. We don't have that. We are very small, frankly, and we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah. So we had a question on will our accounts be gone next year or be used in new series? It's a little bit of a no offense, Mr. Peace Loss. It's a bit vague, but I think there's a question of parenty here, Jacob. If you want to address that.
If it's important to you guys, you can send us that feedback and let us know. We have not been thinking about it just from the perspective of what you do in Silent Hill doesn't feel like it should connect to what you do in DC or Borderlands. In other words, your avatar is not appropriate for those things, nor do any of the decisions that you've made on Fate or Hope. I think those are completely different.
Amazing Silent Hill avatar should be just randomly roaming the Borderlands.
If there are aspects of your account that are important to you that you would like to see in those products, let us know. Right now, we don't have
the Borderlands
after What If concludes. So you should still be able to view your moments, view all the past clips, all that stuff stays online. There's no reason to shut it down. And it's not like Ascension.com is going to be used for Heroes United. So you're not being replaced by those other shows. We just have to move our production teams on to the next projects.
Yeah, it's not an or. It's just a sequential. I'm just going through here quickly. So people.
I just like access to my mini games.
Rally Cry.
No, this ain't your Wordle.
I'll give me a second for that one.
Love, have you seen today's Silent Hill? Oh yes, that car
that I would bring up Rally Cry. I did it a couple of minutes ago. Is that thank you for
daily
that.
mini
That
games.
stuff. Like it makes me very happy to see the community care about the features and the products and the stuff that we've made.
Car repair.
You know, in an industry which very quickly turns toxic, it's great to see a community that's actually positive and reinforcing that positivity. I wish that we could have had more of that around the launch of the product, but we had to shut it down, as I mentioned before, due to like literal Nazi attacks.
Congrats to
Discord streamer coordinated attacks and all sorts of other crazy stuff that was happening because everybody saw that they could get like attention, and so all the attention.
Forget Wordle. We've got car repair. Indeed, we do.
Cycle, right? And I think that the thing that damaged us the most was having to shut down chat for a month because the trolls came and were just awful. But you know, once we got a community and a chat, I felt really
the chat was killed like almost instantly, wasn't it? And then
everybody working on the product views and
it was
about it.
A Christmas miracle that it returned.
Sharing things that are weekly all hands inside of our Slack. We share every comment. We look at our support tickets. Like we are a very community-oriented development team. Which was harder to do at launch because we had a million things on fire and we had to deal with those attacks that I mentioned and the trolls and everything else. And that was a very significant distraction from doing real development when you have to spend hours on calls.
Thank you. I'm so glad people liked it. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun to make. I never had rap before. Whoa, he's laying down. The Silent Hill rap. Come on, here we go. Silent Hill, performing for you.
And then what you've seen in the last few months is we've dedicated ourselves to fixing as many of those bugs as we can. So like that CS team and our development team getting those tickets in and getting that device
I think they're good, so they run a few days
really,
ahead.
really important. We test across a variety of devices. We test across low-end devices, high-end devices. My phone is a old iPhone SE, right? I purposely pick low-end devices to play off of.
Yeah, to be fair, it's pretty solid.
Or a specific memory set. So you guys are helping. As I said, I don't have
spent the last few weeks
here, but the feedback, the session data that you send us, we literally go and we look at those sessions. We try to emulate those devices with device emulators, find where those bugs out, and then as quickly as possible.
5 in Japan, and the whole thing.
Squash every bug that we can.
Just worked.
I did want to. They're like free things quickly, and these are from me. So one of them is Teshass. I'm gonna get to your points because I did notice it. I want to make sure Jacob gets
the whole just worked,
it, just in case. But I think there's not a problem there. But we'll address it. So quickly, the way the community transformed is interesting for me as a professional in the field. I'm actually trying to sort a talk together.
I really wasn't expecting it to work as well as it did. Really,
evolved is fascinating. But aside from that, I did want to also shout out Turbo Bastard for another reason, which is one of the
first few months were rough, but the journey was amazing.
Retro gaming and archiving is a real challenge, and when we work in the field of live, archiving is a huge challenge. So the fact that these videos of these the hosted shows are
Turbo is the unofficial archivist.
For other people to see, I did want to shut that up. That's actually like really grateful for that. Now, Jacob, Tish asked his point. Just asked, like, they want a cameo contest but haven't been featured for a few days. I'm guessing that's fine. I'm just double checking.
If you've won a contest, you're usually featured coming up, but do you know whether it's an Endure feature or whether it's a story cameo feature? Because those are completely different cameo categories.
We can check. I'll make a note of the username.
Reach out to CS. They'll get you sorted out because a story feature can take X number of days to week to resolve.
It's way easier just to type on the Check Turbo's YouTube.
And in the Endure features, unless you're watching Endure recordings, you may not see it because it's not happening every single time, right? You may be featured on a Thursday this week of that, or you may have missed yesterday. But reach out to CS teams; they'll tell you where your cameo appeared. If you want a contest, you were somewhere in the show. We'll get it to you.
Yeah. There was also somebody who won a cameo contest.
Though DDK has the ultimate soundtrack. Damn straight I do.
We tend to fix those in videos on demand.
Greatest soundtrack.
Usually.
Yeah, I mean, there wouldn't be a glitch in a story sequence, but that would definitely be in the VOD still. If you have a glitch during Endure and you want to get a clear Endure capture, let our CS teams know, because we can
I shot through the flying thing in my cameo.
For you to have.
So that was for Bungalow. I was answering that. So also,
Okay.
a lot of love for Turbo Bastard, obviously. I guess
Nice to
Good.
get a pop-up.
Look, the work that the community does to change sentiment is important, not only for the franchise and for the product, but for us as a company. When we started, we have...
Yeah, you do need a pop-up saying, wow, you got a cameo. It'll be on tomorrow.
Consumer sentiment ratings company called Sprout, which is just an industry company that it's not us, standard, and they do Silent Hill Ascension searches.
Look at the community love Turbo is getting. It's good stuff.
We start with a 33% sentiment rating. By January, 59%. February, 76%. And then as of last week, we were seeing an 87% positive sentiment rating. And that's due to the community and the community self-reinforcing and calling people in, and YouTubers. Somebody wrote a video saying Silent Hill Ascension is a fever dream and I need to tell people about it. That was hilarious.
Keep those positive vibes flowing.
You know, those kind of things are great. Like, we want to see people talk about it positively and have a good experience. And that's also why the CS teams work so hard. We made changes about a month and a half ago to how we were doing an operating customer service where I got much more deeply involved. You guys probably
enduring
saw it.
few.
And you probably saw it because at that point in time we had stabilized enough.
Oh, you upped our own hope.
I could put my eyes on it. But you know, as my team here is well aware, I look at every single report that comes in and every single, feedback, and I ask our dev team, when are we going to fix this? What are we doing about this? How are we trying to make the experience better? Because that is what you should do. That is what I would want as a user.
One step ahead of us.
That's the kind of experience that we want to build. I can't always promise that we get there, and I can't promise that we're going to be bug free, and we ship so much new stuff. You literally are getting a new build a day. You don't realize it. We're changing that code moment to moment, and things break.
I hope
but it's a live experience. We're all here to have fun in our lives. I want to be able to look back on this 30 years from now and say, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. I love how awesome that community was, and I can watch those videos back and enjoy it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, as I like to say, Jacob, this is the best
an unusual thing to go home to your family.
It feels like the early show, like definitely there was like a lot of weight. So, but like
monsters for a living.
The community's at least 9 or 10 stars. So we did get a question from Rainimer. Jacob, how do you feel about this project bringing in new people to the fandom?
That's exactly what we wanted, and we got a note from Okamoto-san. We send
from Okamoto-san
the sentiment ratings and everything else, and the feedback from you guys. We literally send screenshots of the chat to Konami, and Okamoto-san said, like, we saw that Ascension was bringing in new people, new fans, people who normally wouldn't play those games. We're quite happy about it, and Konami's been a great company to work with. I think that they did an amazing job with Short Message. I'm super excited for Silent Hill 2 Remake and the other products going on. But they're like us, a team that really cares about it. But look, games are hard.
There you go. They mentioned all the other Silent Hill stuff.
I got a really heartwarming mention. So Valkyrie 1 was pretty vocal about like they were mentioning they were disabled in the audience, and they were saying like the labels were helping them. So but you'll get that. We'll read that feedback more in detail. Jacob obviously needs some time, and the rest of the team too. But I did want to point this message out. Valkyrie 1, and I was really grateful that you made me the guard. I suspecting this is a cameo. I worked in security and a first responder before I became disabled, so this was big for me. I missed the job, and I couldn't have asked for more.
That's awesome. That's great. I love those cameos. Were supposed to be one of the most fun things that we did. Like, we'd have from the earliest pitches, like, hey, we have a TV show, we need a whole bunch of extras, we're using metahumans, let's try to get people into the thing. And the problem was,
I'm hoping to win a cameo. Save my points. It's the only thing one can hope for.
Like, you can tell the voice actors,
greatest prize,
voice
cameo
or something else, because they don't have Norwegian accents. So it became harder and harder the better the visuals got, because it started to distract from the story, and so we've done less of those over time. But like that stuff is so fun. Like the ability to go back and be like, that's my character there. I played that role, right? And you don't have to be a professional Hollywood actor or like struggle waiting
First
tables to be able
Silent
to do it.
Hill
It's part of the
cameo.
whole vision of how you build an interactive television
Next.
series. We went to pitch
Hollywood.
Konami at this point, you know, close to 3 years ago, no, over 3 years ago, saying like this is where the future of entertainment is going. I can't say that we've done it perfectly, and there's a lot of things that I would change if I would do it again, but we are making those improvements for the future series. We're learning from it here, and hopefully we'll learn for, you know, future Ascension seasons too if we ever get to there.
That'd be good. So
Silent Hill Frontier.
I'm sharing a quote and then
Bow,
I'll
bow.
share a question. I'm very sorry for the question. I forgot to note the audience member who did, so apologies to you at home.
And buy the right piece of Ascension 5 months later.
Midnight Toe. I'm planning to
Both
write
good
a
and
piece
bad.
of Ascension 5 months later.
Well, in
both
the perspective,
good
I
and
haven't
bad
seen
points.
all the
The
change
perspective,
I've
I haven't
seen.
seen all the change that we've seen. Please send
Oh,
that to me or to Jacob. I would love to see it. The
We
customer
read
support-
everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Silent fiction.
Somebody asked about a physical release of the Ascension show. That's an interesting one, actually.
So we would love to do that. That is Konami's prerogative rather than us. Anything that is physical goods, like these shirts, you'll notice linked to the Konami shop. So if you want a Blu-ray, you know, a vinyl pressing of the
Pure
soundtrack,
Blu-ray.
anything else, send an email to Konami and letting them know. I can forward it to you, but it's actually much more powerful.
Still no
if you
emoji
write to
merch.
Konami directly, because they're the guys who
I saw
are in charge of anything
loads of
physical related contractually, not us.
emoji.
Yeah, somebody was saying
Merch.
VHS, which I think would be a great horror film.
Yeah.
For that. Like, I've seen cassettes for audio. I haven't
Tokyo,
seen yet a
Japan.
VHS classic release. That'd be interesting.
But it
To
wasn't.
be honest, our first 1 or 2 weeks
Silent
worth
Hill.
of footage would probably look better on VHS than high quality 4K. But you know, you'll experience that all again when you get to What If, because we're gonna start back at the original. Like these are the scenes that we filmed back in August, right before we got used to the pipeline. But we're. I mean, I look at the scene last week with Barbara
A memento mori.
and Aurora and Astrid and Rachel killing
Ascension
that
as a piece of
creature.
software. Like I see that.
And,
whoa.
I was showing that to people at the Game Developer Conference last week, because last
Seeing
week was GDC,
editor
and,
would
like, we were
be
getting jaw-dropping
mad
reactions from people
work to
because
make.
It looks pretty good. I mean, it's never going to be as good as like a $400 million Spider-Man 2 game can spend on their visuals, but you know, I'm damn proud of what the team's been able to accomplish. They've done a great job, and we've gotten the story tighter, right? We made a lot of changes on tightening story, tightening voice acting, tightening these scenes, and focusing on that production quality, and we learned how to do it over the course of time. And we've gotten a lot better there. I don't know what Faith means by the monster is scared in the scene today. I thought that was real weird. I was watching that, I was like, what the?
This
monster is
post
scared?
show
The
is
monster is
running
the
quite
monster
long,
who
isn't
wants
it?
to kill me is scared.
It just wants a hug. That's all.
Just wants a hug. I bring that up because like that's our opening scene. Is that is the Entangler going and killing Joy? So I was
They
thinking back to
look
that
like
as we see the
monsters to
Entangler
you?
enter, that beloved laundromat.
So just time is fine. I'm just because the audience is having a great time, but we should probably. I got some extra points. Somebody asked about the soundtrack on CD. Now I'm a physical CD collector, so I would love that too. But not my call. Trust me.
Birth
otherwise
trauma.
it'd be just
Damn,
video.
afterbirth.
Now, there was a question about like there are some tracks in the show that
Oh,
were
I'm-
not on the
I'm
official
after winning a
soundtrack release
cameo.
that I don't actually know about. I don't have
That's
to be
true.
honest.
Yeah, so the soundtrack release, we asked Necoface, so Kevin and Eric, what they wanted to do with the soundtrack, and they curated that playlist. So it is not everything. You are right. I don't know what we do with the stems that they didn't use. We could ask them if they want to produce a bonus one, but CD releases, vinyl releases are all Konami's domain. So and also like the stuff that's on Spotify, everything that you see there, that's Konami in charge of all distribution. The soundtrack rights are all theirs. So you've got to ask them for that.
Yeah, and then there was a request for a more G mask in the merch, but again, we can only whisper that.
That
Enshrined.
would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
And
and
then,
Eric
and
was
then somebody
kind
wants
of
like I was a Silent Hill Ascension
face
cameo
border.
T-shirt. Again, we can whisper that.
we debated like having like little printables of your character and stuff like that. But again, we don't have the physical merch right. That's all Konami's domain. So you want that stuff, let them know.
All right. Tell you what, Jacob, it is approaching 10 p.m. our time where we are based. I think we had a good time with the audience. I think they had a good time, right, audience? I hope you had a delightful time.
It was a blast.
So, let's go into our kind of end of show procedure. So again, I'm gonna recap the story. The story recap is tuning in on Wednesday, so I can tell you more about the story. Honestly, that's probably your best bet.
I would love a cameo shirt.
Things are going right. Like
Getty
both sides,
dragged out.
In Norway, the stories are starting to resemble. You can kind of guess that's where
Of
we're
the
going
extra
in a
long
way,
show.
because we show you two locations; they're connected in some way. Now, both families are kind of trying to run away from the monster taking the town. A lot of fog. And still some kind of mysteries to uncover. Obviously, Astrid and Hagen got to talk for half the night. Very good times. Now, that being said, a lot of action happening kind of on both sides. Some focused on Rachel being kind of Krista's captive. That was a big thing today. So thank you again, Jacob, for being here. For our audience, if you did want to stick around even more, there's puzzles as always every time. Our production team's going to put on the next show graphic.
I multitask.
5:40. So the show is every weekday, 6 p.m. Pacific on weekdays, pre-show. 5:40 on Mondays, Wednesdays,
Can't spell
Fridays.
window.
And then we have a post-show on those days. I can already,
window.
without telling you which one,
Games
today we actually have the
already
privilege of recording an interview for Friday, which we will air. On Wednesday's post-show, we will let you know who that is with. Although you can probably get a hint because we recorded that one. And there was a very good reason to do so. That said, audience, I hope you had a great. I think the audience had a great time. I was actually watching it, and I hope that all of you did have a wonderful time. Jacob, any parting words before we shut this shindig down?
Shut this shindig down.
So now I'm curious.
I don't want you to spoil it. Like we'll reveal this on Wednesday.
I feel like you told me earlier today, and I'm not remembering, but it was something good. So I'm gonna watch Friday also.
It is good. We normally leave times for two takes, but this one was really good from the first. Honestly, it was really heartwarming. It's definitely. I think you'll definitely have a fantastic time at home.
Silent Hill Ascension, Revenge of Carl.
Tease. So now I don't even spoil it internally. We'll have to figure that out on Wednesday. We will. But yeah, I think I'm gonna shut it down. Jacob, thank you again, audience. If you're still here. I hope you had a delightful time with us tonight in this kind of marathon post show. We normally don't do these, but
Silent Carl would be a nightmare.
So we're gonna say a big thank you to our production team who have silently been suffering in the back, wondering when do I get to go off air. So
I like the idea that they're like having to leave work until this is done. No, shut up, you guys, shut up.
Tonight, holding on.
Reduction suffering.
We all stick around and have a great time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for tonight. Wherever you are around the world, where it was morning, afternoon, evening, or night, I hope you had a delightful day. And unlike our story, free of fog. I'll see you on Wednesday.
GG.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ascension.